Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Bobby Green, man. Like when I was watching that fight, like live, I didn't see what happened. I just saw like Jared Gordon drop. So I thought like something hit him. Well, something did hit him. He dropped and he defended himself for a little bit. And then Bobby Green was able to like press the legs to the side and get the TKO finish, right? And I think this is something that we need to talk about is the difference between a headbutt and a clash of heads. What did you think that was? Because you probably watched it on the replay. Was it a clash of heads or a headbutt?
So, I mean, this is the tough thing about it, right? Is like on the replay, because of the way Green was trying to throw that strike, I think it was a clash of heads. I don't think it was a headbutt. Like a lot of people I know are saying he's leading head first. It's like that's how Bobby Green throws. Go back and look at other fights. Go look at the same fight literally a minute before. They're like Bobby Green is known for his unorthodox strike. The commentary talked about it the entire fight, right? He keeps his arms down, he comes at weird angles. Part of that is throwing in weird ways. I think this was a clash of heads where he came at the same while Jordan was trying to counter or Jared was trying to counter and clash their heads. And yeah, I mean, like, now should it still be a no contest? Yes. Like, I think that was the main factor in that determining. I think Keith Peterson did a terrible job at stopping the fight. I also thought he had enough of an angle that he probably should have been able to see that. But if he doesn't, right, fair enough. Like, it's split seconds in there, but then like he let Gordon just eat 5 shots straight to the face when Gordon was out. That was awful work. But yeah, I mean, it's a scenario where like that's a clash of heads to me. Like a headbutt is I'm trying to think of the last known headbutt. There was somebody that intentionally fouled and did like a headbutt on the ground, was holding somebody down on the ground and like used their head to hit. And it's like, okay, that's a headbutt. But this was, I don't know. What did you think? I'm curious, but I'd go clash of heads.
Well, the thing is like, if Keith Peterson, the ref, I mean, I don't want to blame the ref, but if he did see that from a good angle, he could have stopped the fight, right? Gave Jared some time to recover so the fight can continue. You know what I mean? Just like a nut shot or any other like illegal technique that happens in a fight, right? But I guess he didn't see it, you know what I mean? And Jared just dropped, and then Jared did throw up a submission attempt. Maybe he was on autopilot. I don't know, right? And that's Bobby Green's argument. It's like, yo, if he was that concussed from the headbutt, why was he trying to submit me? And I had to get out of that submission so I could get the TKO finish. And that's a solid argument, to be honest with you. But it was a clash of heads. It was like, it wasn't a headbutt. Some people are calling it a headbutt because Bobby Green was throwing his punches. Like there's a lot of people that throw like that, you know what I mean? And sometimes, their heads clash. Because what if you throw like that and the other guy's throwing at the same time?
Yeah.
That's a clash of heads, right? A headbutt is intentional, right? Intentional. Yeah. And I think a lot of people online don't realize that. A lot of people online are just like, oh, it was a headbutt. It's a headbutt. There's the terminology, man. A headbutt has some negative connotations to that, right? Like you intentionally went in there and tried to damage somebody with your head, right? And it's funny that both of them are ball headed as well. You know what I mean? It's like a perfect headbutt. It's perfect headbutt situation right there, scenario, right? But yeah, it's a clash of heads. And the only problem that I have with this is that I don't care about the no contest. It should be a no contest because it was an accidental clash of heads. And it was the fight was stopped right after
Right.
the punches were thrown. So like you can't go back on that and be like, all right, Jared, you ready to go? Like we're gonna give you 5 minutes. No, man, it's over. Like you're done, right? But the money.
Yeah.
Nobody wins, nobody loses. It's a no contest. It should be automatic that both these guys get paid their win money, right? And there's a problem with that as well. It's like, why is there a show and win money still in this sport? I have no idea. You know what I mean? And I don't understand why fighters are not like like negotiating that, right? Like negotiating to get flat fees more. You know, I know certain fighters do have that, but you have to have a certain amount of power to go into a boardroom, right, with your agent and the UFC brass to kind of just say, "Yo, I want a flat fee of like 200,000 or something." Like I think Mighty Mouse was doing. I think Mighty Mouse was getting flat fees back in the day,
Mighty
but
Mouse. Yeah. And
right,
I think Ferguson and Cerrone both negotiated where it wasn't like completely flat, but it was like 50 grand win bonus or something out of like a 300 grand purse. Like a much smaller fee, like 20% was a win bonus instead of the 50-50 or something.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's a structure that exists simply to keep costs down, right? That's another way to keep total fighter revenue down is you only pay out, you know, they tout like, oh, this guy's on a whatever contract, but they only pay out half of the money if you win. And this is a scenario from a business perspective the UFC loves, where like it's a, you know, it might get some negative reviews and press or what have you, but they don't have to pay these guys their win money. And Bobby Green, especially, right, is a more tenured fighter. He's probably got a sizable show and win. And so like they don't have to pay that, which is great. Keeps costs down for them. And yeah, press will complain, fighters will complain, but you know, is anything going to change? I don't think so. What
no.
like, you know, and
The
it's
metrics are going up. When people complain online, that means
yeah,
the UFC is being talked about more,
yes.
right? Their
Yeah,
popularity is growing. It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive because those same people that are complaining are going to still continue watching the next week, right?
exactly. Well, exactly. Like I mean, this is I don't have the sources to prove this yet, but I am working on this, and I think it's true. Is that if you look at Colby Covington, right? That dude, from a viewership standpoint, for his fights, has never been a real big draw. Like, I mean, he had the lowest rated ESPN night against Robbie Lawler in New Jersey, and it was an afternoon card, but still, like, it was a terrible low rating, 300K or something, like crazy low for the UFC. His pay-per-views have not been super high, especially when you consider his side, not just like the A side or whoever else he's fighting. He's never been that big of a viewership draw, but yet he gets pushed pretty hard. I think it's because what you're exactly talking about, because he creates controversy, right? And then people are talking about the UFC, and it's not even about the fights. It's about what Colby Covington said and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, the negative stuff only raises the UFC profile. It's in this particular sport, all press is good press. It really is. And so, yeah, when people complain and say, well, you get 10 articles that say show and win money has to go. Those 10 articles have been coming out for years. Like,
Yeah.
man, when I first joined SureDog, like I'm pretty sure like within a week or two, somebody had just written an article about how show money should have been abolished. That was 6-7 years ago. Like it's not going away, man. It's yeah.
It's not going away until the fighters join forces like, you know, the X-Men and go out there and battle against the I don't watch X-Men. I just seen like
right.
But I
But
know what X-Men are, but they're batting against somebody. There's got to be an enemy, right? The enemy is the organizations and somehow get a good deal going on, you know. But you know, the last time we spoke, we talked about like some like committee being formed to help the athletes, but that's not about fighter pay. That's about commissions, dealing with the commissions, not even with the organizations actually. So it doesn't even factor into that. But yeah, man, that's just the shitty part of that situation. You know, of course, there's no winner. Jared Gordon, another fight with controversy surrounding it. You know what I mean? Which sucks for him.
He took some damage, and like
Yeah.
I mean, I know you said that like he can throw up the submission and stuff, and so it might have been there. But dude, I've seen fighters. I went to an LFA show once where after the fight, the guy won, but he got rocked hard, and I forget it wasn't Miles Johns, but it was somebody else he was training with, and like he got rocked hard, survives, wins the fight. We're sitting at a bar after the fight, and like we're talking and all this other stuff. And all of a sudden, like this guy's just like, wait, like, where am I? And like his coach has to be like, you're fine. You're at a bar. You won your fight, whatever. It's like, oh, okay. Like I didn't realize Like, and like he like came out of it then. He was talking with people. He was doing, like, people don't understand concussions, man. I had a concussion once when I was younger. I was talking everything normal, and then I like came to. Like, that happens a lot. Like, so it's, it's autopilot is, I'm sure you can find clips of talking about fighters who win fights after they get rocked really hard. They don't remember the rest of the fight. They're like, I'm glad I won. Like, it's nuts, man.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, the damage that these fighters take, man, in fights, it's
yeah.
scary
And Gordon took
sometimes.
that for,
Yeah.
Gordon took that. It doesn't get his win bonus after getting knocked out after his last fight, where he didn't get his win bonus when he definitely should have, in my opinion. Like, just,
When fighters post on social media after their fight, their loss, even when they win, they're like, "Hey, everybody, thank you for the support, and I'm okay." You're okay, and they're okay is totally different
yeah.
definitions. Okay, like me okay is like right now I'm okay. Like I have really no broken arm or
Right.
no concussion. Like I'm okay. And no torn muscles. My ankles are all right. I mean, that's to me that's okay. They're okay is like complete, like like
Dude.
yeah.
It's Chad Mendez. The story about Chad Mendez after, I think it was I forget which Aldo fight, but it was one of the Aldo fights. And he talks about, like, he was like, I was all right, but like I could barely walk. Like, my legs were so swollen. I was peeing blood like for a day straight. It's like, dude. And he's like,
But
I
I'm
was fine. I
okay.
was like,
But I'm
yeah,
okay.
it's like, I'm fine. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
It's like
yeah,
I'm
dude.
alive is I'm okay for them. It's
Yeah,
completely
exactly.
different. That's why you gotta respect the fighters, man, when they step in and they go into these wars and then they come out and they're just like still walking around just normal. And I've been at shows and I've been around fighters, man, and after shows they're asking people like, "Yo, do you know anybody that could get like some Percocets or some just any kind of painkillers?" Right? And I'm just like, yeah, you do need some, man. Look at you, like you just got knocked out, right? And you took a beating before that for a good couple of minutes, so understandable.